Tim Laird here with Secrets of Bluegrass Chefs, the show that takes you out to eat at your favorite local restaurants.
And I'm Kevin Harnick. We've been to a lot of great restaurants through the years, and while many are now part of local history, their flavor and recipes live on.
So join us now for a tasty blast from the past on a Secrets of Bluegrass Chefs Rewind.
Right now on Secrets of Louisville Chefs.
Here's a little trick to make it easier. Take a piece of parchment paper, and you're gonna go ahead and put it right over the parchment paper.
The trick to making fabulous food from the chefs at one of Louisville's finest restaurants. We're dining out at 610 Magnolia, both in their dining room and their wine studio in Old Louisville.
And on the menu, a strudel like you've never seen or tasted before.
And next up, we've got some roasted red peppers.
This pastry isn't for dessert, it's actually part of a salad with a colorful sauce to go alongside. 610 Executive Chef Edward Lee is going to show us the secrets to making it from scratch.
Yeah, and wait until you see dessert.
Nice. A ½ inch and 3/4 of an inch slice. You want to act fast.
It's called semifreddo, and that means half frozen in Italian.
But in my language, it simply means delicious. The secrets to making that and a fish dish that can make your home entertaining easy and elegant.
It all starts right now on Secrets of Louisville Chefs. Welcome to Secrets of Louisville Chefs. I'm Kevin Harnick with Cheryl Case, and tonight we're getting a 2-for-1.
That's because we're sampling menu items from 610 Magnolia and its neighboring wine studio right here in Old Louisville.
610 Magnolia has been offering some of the finest American cuisine in the River City for years. The upscale, reservation-required restaurant is known for its organic menu and sophisticated atmosphere.
Now, owner and lead chef Edward Lee is offering the same high-quality food in a much more casual setting at the wine studio.
It's located in the heart of Old Louisville, right across the street from 610 Magnolia, but it might as well be a world away.
After about 3 years at 610 Magnolia, we thought it was time to do something new.
The wine studio is a unique venue for entertaining, educating, and experimenting. You can rent it out as banquet space or enjoy new dishes created in the open, loft-style kitchen.
And they offer cooking classes. Oh, and the wine studio also offers fine bistro-style dining too.
The wine studio, we wanted it to be less formal, obviously, than 610 Magnolia. We wanted it to be a lot more fun. We wanted it to be a little more modern. The design is a bit more contemporary.
The design is different, but the wine studio and 610 Magnolia share the same philosophy when it comes to food. The emphasis is on top quality, locally grown products.
Well, that's why the menu changes seasonally, making sure Kentucky Proud products go directly from the farm to the fork.
I'm cooking with a lot more bacon now than I ever used to, and a lot more country ham. I think there's very little difference. You can go anywhere in the world, and as long as you're cooking good food, I think there's going to always be an audience for it.
And this audience is getting hungry. You ready for the first course, Cheryl?
I certainly am, because the first course is a combo that's a first for me. It's a strudel and salad.
For our salad course, we have a roasted vegetable strudel with carrot orange sauce and a little bit of an arugula salad.
First, the chef will make the strudel dough from scratch.
We're going to start with some flour, just some all-purpose flour. Now, normally we would do this in a machine, but just for the Secrets of Louisville Chefs, we're going to do it by hand. Do it very authentic. So we've got 10 ounces of all-purpose flour that's been sifted. We've got 2 ounces of melted butter, very simple. And then I've got about 11 ounces of just warm water, plain, right from the tap. There's nothing else that you need. And we're going to throw that in there. And I don't throw it all in, I leave about an ounce on the side because I kind of whisk it together. Then I want to see where my dough is at. And if I need it, depending on, sometimes it's a very humid day, you don't need the extra water. Sometimes it's a little bit dry, you'll want some extra water. And what you do is you get this very sticky dough here, and then you have a little bit of extra flour on the side, and you kind of, at that point, you gotta work it in. We use a spatula, and you just take some extra flour, and you work the dough till you get a nice, even, uniform piece of dough. Now at this point, I'm going to go ahead and use my hands to form a nice ball of dough.
Once the ball of dough is formed, Chef Lee dusts it with a little more flour and sets the bowl in a warm place for about an hour to allow the dough to rise.
This dough is very fragile, so you want to be careful with it. And this is a real fun dough to work with because, as you can see, it's real soft and it rolls out very easily. And the trick to strudel dough, to making a good strudel dough, is you want to roll it out flat. And then when you got it to about a ½ inch or so thickness, and this is the tricky part, you want to take it and you just want to kind of stretch it. It's not very much unlike making pizza dough. And you want to keep working it until you get a nice thin layer.
Don't worry about holes in the dough. They can easily be patched. Now Chef Lee's secret to rolling the strudel.
Take a piece of parchment paper, and you're going to go ahead and put it right over the parchment paper. Okay? And you'll see why in a second where that's going to make a big difference.
The chef trims the edges and begins to create the filling for the strudel.
First thing we're going to start off is with some jack cheese that I've shredded, and we're going to layer the bottom of that.
And then the roasted vegetables, starting with zucchini.
And next up we've got some roasted red peppers. It's going to give us a nice color to the strudel. Then some asparagus spears that we've grilled. I'm going to throw that in. And last but not least, we've got some shiitake mushrooms that were roasted in the oven and just chopped thin.
Now we're ready to roll. And here's where that parchment paper comes into play.
The dough is very fragile, so if you try and roll it with your hands, it's going to break on you. And so what you do is you take that parchment, you lift the two edges right there, and you kind of just use that parchment to do the work for you. And then what you do is you lift it by the corners and you flip it once. Make sure that's tight. Flip it twice. Make sure that's ready to go. And then I'm going to trim it once again right here at the end. I'm going to give it one final spin. Boom. All right. And that's ready to go.
Before the strudel goes into the oven, the chef brushes it with butter and scores it with a knife.
And that's to let the steam out. Because as it's cooking, the vegetables are going to steam. If you don't let the steam out, it'll come out the other side and it'll put a hole in your thing and burst. And last but not least, I'm going to take some some poppy seeds, and I'm going to decorate the top with that.
The strudel goes into a 400-degree oven for about 35 to 45 minutes.
And while that's baking, Chef Lee gets started on the sauce for the strudel that tastes just as good as it looks. Check this out.
We're just going to chop up some fresh carrots, throw it into a pot. I've got a couple of knobs of fresh ginger that I want to throw in there. And then I put orange juice in it. And it's really important for this recipe to use fresh squeezed orange juice. You really can't use the pasteurized stuff because it doesn't have the same effect.
The chef covers the carrots with orange juice and brings it to a boil just long enough to soften the carrots.
When the carrots are soft, I put it in a blender here. And all I do is puree it. And there's your sauce.
Wow, the color of that is just amazing. And And now it's time to get it on the plate.
We're going to slice out a little bit of our vegetable strudel.
Next, a generous spoonful of that orange carrot sauce.
I'm going to put it right here on a plate. And then we're going to simply dress some baby arugula.
The dressing for the arugula is simple. Just a little drizzle of pistachio oil.
It's a really nice alternative to olive oil when you want to just dress something real simply. I'm going to just put a little bit of that on the plate. And then we're going to add a slice of our strudel. And then for garnish, I'm going to take that same cheese that I had used inside the strudel. I'm going to take a nice little slice of it. I'm going to put it on top as a garnish. And then I'm going to drizzle a little bit more pistachio oil over the edge of that.
Wow, what a first course. A robust salad that's also a strudel with the perfect balance between bitter and sweet.
It's a constant battle of how do you balance all those different flavors, salty, sweet, bitter, sour. And when you can do that and then come up with something that's colorful and creative, I think you have a successful dish.
Wow, definitely a winner in my book. I don't think I've had anything quite like this. It's like a work of art.
So good I couldn't wait to dig in, even if it is a work of art. It's pretty, but tastes pretty good to eat too.
Yeah, if you like that, wait until you see what's coming up next.
Oh my.
When we come back, the main event. Baked red snapper with a colorful crust and farro with radicchio. The secret to making it is straight ahead.
And later, an Italian dessert made with peanut brittle and lots of cream.
The test that I used, that's pretty stiff.
More secrets of Louisville chefs at 610 Magnolia, right after this.
Thanks for joining us again on Secrets of Bluegrass Chefs, where this time we're looking back on Kentucky's culinary history. It's a Secrets of Bluegrass Chefs Rewind.
Welcome back to Secrets of Louisville Chefs. I'm Kevin Harnan, dining out with Cheryl Case tonight and another Louisville original.
And if you love fine wine and great food, this is the place to be. It's 610 Magnolia, the restaurant whose name is the same as its address in Old Louisville. The dining room is quaint and classy, and just across the street, there's the newest part of 610 Magnolia, the wine studio.
The wine studio has an incredible selection of wines, as you would imagine, and the menu is just as impressive.
What we've been doing is offering more informal type settings, bistro style dinners that are served family style or communally.
One of those dinners is a whole baked red snapper, and Chef Gabe Souter is going to show us the secrets to making this proven crowd pleaser at home.
And believe it or not, it's really pretty easy to do.
We're going to start out with the preparation of the fish. Like anything, one of our biggest ingredients is quality.
First, the chef seasons the fish with salt and then scores it with a knife.
It's going to do two things. It's going to make it easier to portion afterwards and serve. And then it's also going to allow the marinade to penetrate the flesh of the fish.
Now this is not your ordinary marinade. It begins with what chefs call aromatics.
We're going to use some onions, carrots, and celery today. And that's traditionally what's called mirepoix. And we have juice of about 2 to 3 lemons here. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to use a lot of acid on the finished product of the marinade, because that's going to be like a ceviche and actually cook the flesh of the fish before you put it in the oven. So when you put it into the hot pan, you're going to evaporate a lot of the acid that is in the lemon juice, and you're just going to be left with the brightness of the lemon. So as you can see, it's going to have some moisture to it, but not a whole lot. And we're going to add some more olive oil on this and throw it down underneath to chill for just a little bit so we can handle it a little bit better. So I got our marinade is now chilled down enough. We can handle it. So what we're going to do is put it onto the fish like so.
The fish only needs to marinate for about an hour. Then it's into the oven.
we're gonna throw this guy into the oven here. And you wanna do that about 350 for 20 minutes to 30 minutes, depending on how thoroughly cooked you like your fish.
Next, Chef Gabe turns his attention to the side dish to the fish. And it's an old European grain called farro, which is similar to rice.
What I've done here is I've pearlized it, which means that I put it in a hot saute pan with some oil and basically done the same thing that you do to popcorn. It's the same principle. The moisture inside of the grain comes to a boil, cracks open, and then what that's going to do is it's going to allow the liquid to penetrate it, and it's going to be a lot more like a risotto dish.
Into another hot pan, Gabe melts some butter and adds half of a large onion.
So now we've got these onions nice and translucent, and we're going to add the farro to it. It's going to take about 4 times its volume in liquid to cook. So we're going to use a couple cups of water and some nice chicken stock. So we're going to cover that up, let that go, and what we're going to end up with is something that looks very much like a risotto, a creamy, fairly rich, but it's not rich in the way bacon is rich. It's very much a vegetable grain, whole grain richness. It's very, very nice.
The chef adds a little Parmesan cheese to the grains and cooks it just until the cheese melts.
So I have a pan hot over here, and what we're going to do is we're going to add some sauteed radicchio to the farro. We're going to take some butter.
Radicchio is an Italian chicory or leafy vegetable that has a strong bitter flavor, but it mellows out when it's cooked.
It's fantastic grilled or cooked or sauteed. I think that it's best utilized when it's cooked. So we're just going to give that a light saute.
The radicchio is cooked just long enough to wilt.
Now we got this wilted here. We're going to dump it into our farro.
The mix stays on the hot flame just a few minutes longer to give the flavors time to blend.
Now the chef will make a flavorful crust to go on the fish, called a gremolata.
A gremolata is kind of a catch-all for a herb preparation. It usually has parsley, some sort of lemon zest, or segmented lemons. But we're gonna play a little fast and loose with the definition here, and we're gonna put some tarragon, oregano, parsley, and thyme into ours as well. You don't wanna chop up your herbs too far in advance of when you're going to eat them, simply because herbs like tarragon and basil and oregano oxidize pretty bad, and they will turn black and fairly unsightly. So we're going to mix this into our breadcrumbs here.
And finally, a little lemon zest.
And this is going to be our finished product. And this is it's very colorful, it's very nice and vivid, and it's also going to be, it's an ideal thing to serve for a large group of people, simply because it doesn't have anything that is going to be offensive to most people's palates. It's a very crowd-pleasing dish.
And now the snapper is ready to plate, family style.
Our farro here with our radicchio. So we're just going to find where we pre-scored these guys.
The fish goes on top of the farro and radicchio.
A little fresh lemon on there, a bit of fresh garlic, and finally our breadcrumbs. So there we have baked red snapper with a gremolata crust and farro with radicchio.
Wow, phenomenal fish. Unbelievable. Cooked to perfection, too.
This is delicious, Kevin, but save room for dessert because that's coming right up.
We've got some peanuts here. We're gonna go ahead and toss those in.
It's a dessert inspired by the Italians and soon to be devoured by a couple of Louisvillians.
Learn the secrets to making peanut brittle semifreddo when Secrets of Louisville Chefs returns.
Thanks for joining us again on Secrets of Bluegrass Chefs, where this time we're looking back on Kentucky's culinary history. It's a Secrets of Bluegrass Chefs Rewind.
Welcome Welcome back to Secrets of Louisville Chefs. I'm Kevin Harnan, dining out with my friend Cheryl Case. We're at 610 Magnolia in Old Louisville.
And it's like being at two restaurants in one, because here at 610 Magnolia, it's an old world formal atmosphere in the dining room. And right across the street, you can go a bit more casual at 610's Wine Studio.
Both places are owned and managed by Chef Edward Lee, and both focus on using Kentucky Proud organic ingredients.
So far, we've learned the secrets to making roasted vegetable strudel and a family-style baked red snapper.
Now it's time to top off this wonderful meal with dessert. It's an unusual combination of whipped cream, peanuts, and balsamic vinegar. And Chef Casey Broussard is ready to reveal the secrets to making it yourself.
The dish I'm going to be making for you today is a peanut brittle semi-Fredo. It's actually very good, very easy dish, except for the peanut brittle, which is one thing you could probably get in a store if you needed to, but I'm going to show you how to make it anyway. First off, I've got a little sugar, water, and some corn syrup going in a pan here. Anytime you're doing any kind of sugar work, you want to use the heaviest pan that you have. Aluminum pans, it's very difficult to control the heat. Copper is preferred. It's very expensive, but it is the best.
The chef waits until the mixture gets up to 250 degrees.
I've got some peanuts here. We're going to go ahead and toss those in.
When the peanuts get toasted, they'll infuse the sugar with their flavor.
So I'm going to crank the heat up here. And if you've ever made caramel before, the color is a very good indicator of when it's done.
Chef Casey says it's best to use a thermometer, but after a little practice, you'll know when the caramel is ready to come off the heat.
It'll go from a clear to like a light golden, and then we'll progress into like an amber color, which is usually the stage where you want to start really paying attention and being prepared to finish the dish.
And that looks to be right about now.
This is whole butter. I'm gonna swirl that in. You see how it's starting to foam up a little bit, because there's a little bit of water in the butter, and that will always kind of cause the caramel to really take off.
The next secret is to add a little bit of baking soda.
This is baking soda. Now you see how it's kind of foaming. It's getting a little cloudy there. That's what you want. The baking soda kind of interrupts the crystallization of the sugar molecules, becoming, so if you make a candy or a sucker or something and you take sugar to that temperature, when it cools, it's very, very hard, very, very sharp. What the baking soda does, it causes the bubbles, so then it becomes brittle, and it's not, like chewing on a piece of glass. It's very pleasant to eat. All right, you just really want to kind of mix that in there. And while it's still warm, you want to get it out of the pan. What I have here is a little cookie sheet, we call them sheet pans, with just a little bit of neutral oil, canola oil, or corn oil, just so that when the brittle cools, it will release from the pan very easy. If not, it'd be kind of difficult.
Spread the brittle to the thickness you prefer, and allow it to cool completely before breaking it up.
It's very brittle. You can kind of, you break it with your hands. It's nice. If this were candy, this would be very hard and it'd be sharding off like glass. So that is the peanut brittle portion of the peanut brittle semi-Fredo.
Now for the semi-Fredo, which again means half frozen in Italian. That starts with heavy cream.
The cream that you're going to be whipping, it definitely needs to be cold.
You can whip the cream by hand, but a mixer is definitely easier. It takes about 5 minutes to whip up the cream to stiff peaks.
And the test that I use, and that's pretty stiff. It's holding on to the bottom of the spoon. What I have here is some egg yolks. That's kind of adds some more richness to the dish and kind of binds it all together.
And to sweeten things up, Casey whisked in quite a bit of sugar. At first the mixture will clump, but just keep whisking and then gently fold in the cream.
The technique is really just kind of coming around the sides and over the middle, rotating the bowl just a little bit. Same procedure for sponge cakes, anything, mousses. You want to preserve the air and the body.
Next, the chef adds fresh nutmeg and ground cinnamon. And finally, the peanut brittle.
Being very gentle. Just kind of want to lightly fold that in.
Once the brittle is all mixed in, the chef puts it into a mold for freezing.
We line it with plastic wrap, and a useful trick to kind of help the plastic wrap adhere to your mold is just kind of wet it gently the inside. The plastic wrap really likes to stick to it. And I'm going to lightly just spread that out. You don't want to deflate it much at all. Okay, maybe a little shake. Don't want to bang it on the table or anything. It will release some of the air bubbles that you work so hard to achieve. Okay, so that's it. Now it goes directly into your freezer.
Freeze the Fredo overnight, and then...
It's solid, but it's not like super hard. You can definitely kind of manipulate it with your fingers.
when you're ready to serve it, the secret is using a very cold plate.
Nice. A ½ inch, 3/4 inch slice.
You want to act fast.
And to finish the dish, fresh fruit.
Blackberries are great. They have a nice acidity, kind of sweet, a little bit of tartness to it though. It really kind of balances the dish. The dish is very sweet and very rich, so nice little freshness.
And for a garnish, the chef adds a taste of Kentucky with fresh mint.
Now it's a little trick we call chiffonade. Kind of hard to see. It's such a small mint, and my fingers are kind of large. Kind of roll it up. A nice sharp knife.
Chiffonade means ribbon, so you can see that. Very, very fine.
Chef Casey sprinkles the mint ribbons over the berries, and then the surprise ingredient.
We have a little balsamic glaze. It really provides a lot of balance in the dish from all the sweet and the fat. Peanut brittle semi-Fredo, the fresh berry and mint salad.
Wow, now this is a combo I never would have imagined. Balsamic vinegar and cream.
Yeah, strange combo, but it goes well together, doesn't it?
It's delicious. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, all the recipes that you see on our show can be found on our website, along with a complete guide of local restaurants. You can find us at newlocaltv.com.
Thanks to Chef Edward Lee, and thank you for watching. Cheryl Case, I'm Kevin Harnett. We'll see you next time on Secrets of Louisville Chefs.